and that's awesome. But then you add the next few layers where, you're making sure that before the builders are even paid, we're vetting the work. We're making sure they're reaching the stages that they're supposed to have reached before they reach their payment milestones. And likewise, when they finish, we're doing the full snag. We're making sure it's all done. And we're making sure that the builders aren't doing what, unfortunately, some builders do, which is saying everything's all fine and done and then disappearing once they get the money. We're making sure that everything is signed off before that builder is paid. So, it really creates the reassurance and the safety net for the investor to make sure, once their project's done, they know it's done and it's done to a good standard. It's great,
Yeah, and I think that is something, we're not going to sit here and say that no one in life wants to take the easy road. Everybody wants to take the easy road. And unfortunately, builders do get a bad rep because they are trying to make profit for themselves. So what they will always do is if they can cut a corner, they will cut a corner. It's human nature.
Yep.
And I think that's the difference, is having investors and clients that they don't do it for their day job. To have someone else in the middle to give that safety net, that security, or try to, figure out those ones and catch like a fishing net and stop those big problems falling through, so that you don't have issues later. And I think that the cost element within that, which actually we managed to save them most of the time on the project cost in the outset, is why we've got so many projects straight off, because it gives those clients that certainty.
Yeah, and it's nice to see the finished result and have the clients go around and the compliments we get for the work is fantastic. So it makes it all worth it, right? Ultimately,
exactly. Yeah, I think for us as well, what people need to understand is that we want it to work, because actually, if we're taking it under management and maintenance for the next 10 years, we don't want to be having a problem in 4 years going, well, your builders did this.
Yeah.
So it's we're also incentivized to ensure that this is a longevity and this product stays there.
Yeah.
So obviously, actually, My Property Lettings originated from TrustBricks Lettings. It was one of the ones that we put together within the group. Tell us a little bit about how you found that in the first place. And then
I suppose one of the biggest things for me is, one of the biggest complaints you get from investors across the UK is that the lettings agents aren't great. And this isn't to say that lettings agents aren't great. It's just there's some of the key fundamental things that they might not be doing very well. Client communication, good maintenance, good inspections, all the things that you as a landlord would go, actually, this is my base minimum. And a lot of these lettings agents will be excellent with the rent collection or fantastic at managing the tenants, but then they'll miss out on some of the fundamental pieces, which is much more important for an investor to see and receive. So essentially what we looked at is going, well, what's the things that the lettings agents are doing the worst at? Let's excel in that, and we'll just make sure we do well with the others as standard. And essentially, we launched that from a cold start about a year ago. We've now got 140 something properties under management, and that's not as units. Obviously, once you break that down into apartments and rooms for HMOs, it's a lot. And from a cold start, I'm very excited. I'm very happy. And the feedback, we don't tend to get landlords leave. It's very rare that any landlords leave. And the only reason they tend to leave is because they're selling for whatever personal reasons. And that's a testament. And more importantly, I've got my mother running the lettings, which
it's a safe pair of hands, I have to say.
Definitely a safe pair of hands.
She keeps us in check.
Yeah. She runs, she's amazing. So, with her background and her experience, operations manager for FTSE 500 companies and stuff. So she's very well versed in making sure stuff gets done and done effectively.
Well, I think that goes back to, our backgrounds, is obviously having run estate agents. I was always worried about management and lettings. And I'll be honest,